Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Millennial Pocket Watching. It's me. So today I am going to talk about emergency fund savings. Yay. So what is an emergency fund? So emergency fund is kind of just self-explanatory. It is a fund you use only for emergencies. So basically a lot of financial school thought is you have like $1,000 put away for any type of emergencies, if you're still paying off debt, and if you have paid off most of your commercial debt or all of your commercial debt, you start bumping up essentially your emergency fund. So, what qualifies as emergency is basically up to the person. I know a lot of people use their savings as another checking account. This is not that. And then how do you do it? So I think this is the biggest thing that keeps a lot of people like kind of not confused, but just unaware. Um, Whatever you have is the answer to how do I save for an emergency fund, whatever you have. So let's take it back to, I want to say 2010. I first started working around late 2009. I wasn't getting paid much. I was getting paid minimum wage, but I still managed to put away 10% of my income. If that 10% was like $17, guess what? $17 is going into my savings account. Now, mind you, $17 went a little bit longer away. I don't want to say 20 years, but 10 years ago, than it does now. Clearly. So yeah, $17 is not going to get you much, but it's still $17 less that has to come out of your pocket. And when I say your pocket, I mean your checking account or money that you weren't intending to spend. Your savings, or sorry, your emergency fund really just sits there. You're not putting it on the stock market. You're not putting it, I mean, I guess you can put it in a money market account or a high yield savings account. I personally don't. I probably should, or at least have, something's accruing higher interest rates than my general savings account, but here we are. So I don't really talk about it on my channel for the most part when I'm doing my spending or savings or cash stuffing, because I'm done. I've been done, not recently, but I've been pretty well done for a minute. So I don't talk about it because I just don't. But do I still put away money for savings? Yes. And this is different types of savings. So I have like my sinking fund or whatever, and then I have like my general savings, but there's still 10% of my income that goes straight into my emergency fund. Is it topped off? Yes. And that's why I'm considering putting some of it in a high yield savings account, but that's for me for another day. But that is how I kind of save for those rainy days. So, what is an example of a rainy day? So, I initially started my emergency fund with my $1,000 because I had student loans. At some point, there was a little bit more than $1,000 in it. For the most part, I still actually have that $1,000 emergency fund. I actually just use it for my savings. For some reason, I'm like super duper paranoid that my checking account will ever go overdraft. And so typically what a lot of banks used to do was, instead of charging you an overdraft fee, they'll just take it from your savings account. I always just keep it there just in case. Or, whatever random shenanigans that I somehow always end up doing, I usually spill from there or take from there. If I don't want to use my like primary account, or if it's something I know is kind of expensive and I don't want it to mess with my usual like flow of money, I'll take it from there. That's bad advice, but I'm a human. But I still have it, basically, is what I'm saying, in addition to my actual 3 to 6 months of savings. So I managed to save 3 to 6 months, and that was fairly recently. I started traveling, getting travel money, and so that extra money that I was seeing every week rather, was going towards my savings, in addition to a home loan or home improvement loan that I took out. So once I paid that off, everything else went into my emergency fund, because I was in a period of transition. I didn't know where my next job was going to come from, or I was moving, and so everything went into the emergency fund, and that is something you want to kind of focus on. If you know you're having a big life change, such as a move coming up, you do want to actually kind of put a lot of your effort and energy towards your savings as opposed to just your regular day living. So I would stop all my investings. I would stop for a period of time. I might have spoke about this before. I stopped my 401k contributions so that I could save for whatever giant expense or life transition that I had coming up, i.e., moving and changing jobs. So that part. I cover that. And I feel like it's really hard for a lot of people because they're like, there's no money in my budget. I can't, or there's no money for me to put away. I have to spend it all because this life is hard. What I do for me personally is I don't let that money even touch my checking account. Hello, it's Editor Me from the future. I'm going to stop myself here and clarify what I meant when I said I don't let the money touch my checking account. It goes straight to my savings, and my budget, my bills are paid from the money that hits my checking accounts. So essentially, I paid myself first. And then I put my budget, I surround my bills around what all is left. That money goes directly to my savings account. Even so far as it being in a different bank, and I do not carry that card with me typically. But yeah, I don't let that money touch my account, and it makes it easier for me to save. It comes directly out of my paycheck into that account. I don't see it. It don't see me. We don't see each other. But I know it's there. I know I've had it set, preset, and even when I was making less money and I used to get paper checks and I had to go cash my paper check at the bank, and it wasn't a lot of pennies, I'd be like, look, I need you to put 23 cents in my savings account to the teller with a straight face. Like, you have to put yourself first. You have to pay yourself first. And that's where Mercy Fund comes from. That's where your general savings comes from. You have to pay yourself first, and then the bills get whatever's left. If you don't pay yourself first, that's probably your biggest downfall, is not paying yourself first. Now, when I say 3 to 6 months of expenses, after you get past that initial debt payoff amount. So I wouldn't just have a ton of money just piled up and you have like a ton of debt also piled up. Pay down your debt. Yeah, you can put it towards your savings. I wouldn't recommend it. I think you would pay down your debt. You'd be surprised how quickly you can pay down your debt, and how not having that chip on your shoulder of I have this payment to make makes life just so much easier. And when I say emergencies, a lot of people say, oh, well, I have a Cancun trip coming up and I would like to use. That's not an emergency, y'all. That's something that you foresaw, can plan for. You just chose not to. And it's the same principle that you need to apply to your emergency fund. Just save for it. Like, okay, I want to put this much money away for this Cancun trip that I have coming up. Boom. Let's see where I can split the hairs in my budget. What can give? I'm going to have to stop going to Starbucks an extra day. It's whatever. I'll be okay on caffeinated Tuesday or whatever. It's fine. You can do it. You'd be surprised how much money you spend in Starbucks. I personally don't drink coffee. It's not my thing. I'm a sweet tea type of girl. But yeah, here we are. And so when it comes to 6 to 9 months, or is it 3 to 6 months of expenses, the first thing you need to do is calculate how much your per month expense is. So all your bills, everything you can think of that needs to come out per month or come up to within a 3-month period needs to be accounted for. You have that number and just multiply it times 3 or 6, whatever you're more comfortable with. I am carrying a higher rent or housing ratio than I'm used to. And so my emergency fund had to grow a little bit because my rent is now more expensive than my mortgage was. Like double, which is crazy. But here we are. And so 3 to 6, or I think right now I'm sitting at 6. That's just me as a person, because if I can't get my stuff together in 6 months, I'm a little upset. And then you also may not know what could come down the pipeline. You might be out of work. Like if I were to break one of my arms, that would be a very sad day for me because I can't work. So if you have a more physical job that requires your extremities, you might have to plan for that being out of work. I mean, yes, there is short-term disability and long-term disability, but that's something you have to pay into. Jesus Christ, what the f- that part. So yeah, that is my emergency fund shblick. Stay tuned for anything. I have a couple more videos coming down the pipeline, and I hope you guys enjoy just kind of talking to me and me talking to you about simple life stuff. So catch you later. So if you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment in the comments. Do that. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. And anywho, check you later. Bye. Bye.
They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me